Hello, welcome back to my channel. Please subscribe to my channel, like my videos, and check my channel for other updates about Zeeworld. So the last update about Twist of Fate. Ranbir was in shock after he caught Siddharth and Prachi on the bed, and Prachi tries to explain herself to Ranbir, but Ranbir was too angry to understand Prachi. Let's continue. Prachi was about to walk out of the hotel. Ranbir comes to her and asks if she doesn't feel ashamed to be caught red-handed, and then showing him attitude and walking out. Prachi says you did not leave anything. He asks, shall I ignore? Prachi says you accuse me wrongly, and she asks where did his love go? She asks that why did he used to boast about his love? Ranbir says love is two-sided, but my love was one-sided. It was foolishness. You used to fool me. He says there was no doubt between Siddharth and you, and asks if she doesn't love Siddharth until now, and says I believe the third person will come in your life. She shouted Ranbir. Ranbir says you are exposed and caught by me, and asks her not to act to be good. He asks why is she feeling bad as she is caught and he is talking about her lover. Prachi says lover and says you are blinded by doubt and says whatever I say, you will think me wrong and I will not give you any clarification. Prachi says the way you are looking at me, this is wrong and I will not bear it as I am not wrong. She says she will talk when his anger goes. Ranbir says when relationship is not left, then what will you talk about? He asks what will I do after seeing my wife on the bed with my brother and asks will I keep my relationship with you? Ranbir says I got betrayal and understood that character is needed for a marriage and not love. He says Rhea was right. You have ruined her house. He says when you couldn't be loyal to your sister, then how will you be loyal to me? Prachi says when only the husband is accusing her, then their relationship is not left. Ranbir says I put vermilion in your forehead, but you disrespected it and you went to meet Siddharth. Prachi says marriage is a responsibility and both husband and wife fulfill their responsibilities. Prachi says husband's duty is to fulfill the wife's needs and give her respect and love, and says when husband disrespects his own wife, then nothing is left, where one-sided decision is taken. She says it is wrong to take a decision without knowing the truth, and says you cannot say that Siddharth and I are having an affair. Ranbir says I was blinded since 2 years and says I was ignoring you and Siddharth's illegitimate relationship. Prachi says when the truth comes out, you cannot forgive yourself. He says the truth is out. Even if I try to lift you, then also you cannot reach me. He says our tears are fake. Prachi says this is my genuine tears. Ranbir asks Prachi to accept her mistake and she will feel light. He says if you agree, then I can. He says I don't want to talk to you and I don't want to keep the relationship with you, and says why am I even saying this? Prachi says because you love me. Ranbir recalls seeing them on the bed and says I don't want to see your face. Prachi says I will not clarify and I will not plead in front of you and I will not plead for what I haven't done. She says my trust is broken but not my self-respect. She says you never loved me and you were finding ways to leave me like your mom and dad. He says don't bring my mom and dad. Prachi says I did not say anything when you brought Rhea between us. She says I don't love you and even you don't love me. Ranbir asks why did you not tell me before? She says when I told you that there is nothing between Siddharth and me, you did not agree. But when I said that I don't love you, then you agreed. Ranbir says I ate an unfaithful woman like you and asked her to go away from his life very far. Prachi says I am feeling very pained as my dream broke today. She says I wish we wouldn't have met. I wished I had not fallen in love with you. I wish we wouldn't have gotten married. A sad song plays in the background. Rhea was happy while Siddharth walks out. Aliyah comes out of the room and signals to Rhea. Rhea smiles. Siddharth tells Ranbir that he is doing wrong. Ranbir eats him and says don't say anything. Siddharth asks him to beat him and says your words are hurting me than your beating. Ranbir beats Siddharth more. Prachi looks unshocked. Siddharth says beat me, but don't say anything to Prachi. She is innocent. He says we have come here. Ranbir says to sleep here and asks what a girl and a guy do in the hotel room. Prachi says I cannot bear anything against my character. Ranbir asks them to stay together and leave him. Rhea smiles. Ranbir asks them to marry so that they can stay together and asks them not to come to the hotel room. Prachi gets angry and slaps Ranbir. Ranbir says this is our last meet. I will never forget your betrayal and your slap. He says don't touch me from now onwards as there is nothing between us. Siddharth asks if Ranbir is mad. Ranbir beats him more. Rhea enjoys the sight. Prachi is standing there in shock. The people comes there and stops Ranbir from beating him further. He says, Prachi, it is over. Prachi says, it is good that you said this, else I would have said it. She walks away from the hotel with tears in her eyes. Rhea smiles happily. Ranbir walks behind Prachi. A song plays in the background. Ranbir says, I will curse the day all my life that I met you. She got shocked and looked at him, and he goes in his car. She shouted, no. Ranbir stops the car and recalls seeing Prachi and Siddharth on the bed. Prachi is running on the road. Ranbir gets out of his car and recalls her words. Prachi sits down on the road, shattered and crying. Ranbir is also shattered and he cries, asking, why did you do this with me? Prachi says, you have betrayed me. Why did you doubt me? In the hotel, the doctor checks Siddharth and asks him to visit the hospital. The manager asks Siddharth to get the checkup done. Siddharth says, I am fine. He asks the manager to take him to the CCTV room and asks him to show the CCTV. The manager says yes. Aliyah hears them and she is still there. Rhea comes home and asks Prachi, playing her emotional cards. Pallavi asks what happened. Rhea says Siddharth betrayed me and he was having an affair with Prachi. She says I knew and I told Ranbir, but he had blind faith on Prachi. But today he saw them together in the hotel room together on the bed. Rhea acted and cries. She says Ranbir got very angry and broken his relationship with Prachi. She says I will break my relationship with Siddharth too, because I cannot live with that betrayer Siddharth. She says that betrayer Prachi. Prachi comes there. Rhea tells Pallavi that Ranbir got very angry and broke all his relationship with Prachi. She says now I will break my relationship with Siddharth and I cannot stay with that betrayer person. Prachi comes there. Rhea asks, how dare you to come here after breaking my home? Prachi says, listen to me. Don't say this. Rhea says you have ruined my home before it is set up. Prachi says you are my sister. Believe me, nobody has betrayed anyone. Rhea says you are not my sister, but my enemy, and you try to snatch my husband. Rhea says call yourself anything, but don't call yourself a sister. She says you couldn't become a good wife, a good daughter-in-law, and a sister. Prachi says don't say this. I want to do everything with you, but I cannot betray you. You are my own sister. Rhea says you are lying and you get happy whenever I cry. She says when you saw Dad that he loves me more, then you try to snatch him from me, and then you snatch my Ranbir from me, and now you snatch Siddharth from me when I try to move on. She asks until when will you continue to snatch with me, and she asks her to kill her and stop everything. Prachi says I cannot think of this. Rhea says you will do this, and she calls her Diane and says Diane is better than you, and says she lives at least 7 houses, but you. She says you used to say that I am your sister and that you see your reflection in me and you have so much hatred for me. Rhea asks Prachi if her mother taught her this. Both are the same. Mother has ruined my dad's house and the daughter has ruined my own home. Prachi gets angry and slaps Rhea. Pallavi asks how dare you to slap my daughter-in-law. Prachi says she is also my sister too and asks how can you say this. She says you are both of the same tree. Then how can reflection be different? Prachi says I will not hear anything against my mother and says she is in coma. She says you are angry now and she asks her to think again. Prachi tells Pallavi that she is careless but not greedy, and she says that Ranbir and Rhea has a misunderstanding. Pallavi asks Prachi to get her stuff and leave from there, and Pallavi pushes Prachi. Thank you for watching my videos. Please don't forget to like this video, share it, and please subscribe to my channel for more updates. Thank you.